Welcome everybody. I'm Lizzie Brooks and this is Where Muscle Meets Mindful. So I like to talk about things occasionally that I have heard multiple people talking about, or most of the time it's what they're asking me. So if I've gotten a question more than a few times, I feel like I should address it here because probably, as they used to say when we were in school, if one person has a question, probably other people have that same question. So I would like to answer how to remain positive in a negative world. And so I'm not necessarily saying that the world is negative as a whole. I don't believe that. But there are negative things, there are challenges. And especially right now, it can feel more negative than even it has in the past. So first of all, let me say, I'm human, I'm not perfect, I'm not always positive. It sort of is my tendency to go positive, but it's also a practice to be positive. So I do think that there is something to nature and nurture, and some people might be born more positive or someone might be born a little bit more negative. There's also just the nurture part, which is like how you were raised, but also when you get older and no one's really influencing you like your parents or anything anymore, the decisions that you're making and just having to say, yeah, I choose this. I also know that right now it's not lost on me that I'm in a good situation. My husband has his job, my kid is doing well, I am a writer and a yoga teacher, and I get to make this content from home. So I also don't have this terrible hardship that some other people have. But historically, I've been, even through rough times, pretty positive and sometimes hopeful to kind of a funny, childish degree. So that being said, here are some things that I find are really helpful. So we have to watch what we're putting out into the world. It's very easy in the brain, and just how, just historically and over evolution, it's easier to be negative than positive. And I'm sure you guys have probably heard, for every negative thing that is said to you, you kind of almost need 5 positive things to almost balance that out, because the negative cuts deeper and we kind of think about that and marinate on that longer than the positive stuff. And if you feel a compliment inside you, if you see someone and they were so helpful to you, or they have a delightful personality, let them know. Help that, what you're putting out into the world, balance what negativity all of us as humans do go through. And understand that everyone is going through some negativity at some point. No one just has this blissful life where all negativity is avoided. I can't remember who said this, but it sticks with me. It's how you watch the energy that you're bringing into a room. So every time, and write in the comments if you know who said that, but it's basically like every threshold that you cross, it could have been Mark Nepo, or maybe Mark Nepo said it from another poet or author, but before you walk through that threshold, check yourself and say, am I about to just bring this storm of negativity and like poopy behavior into this room? Pause and then take a breath. So that's my next thing, the breath. I really avoided this for a really long time when I first started yoga, and when I was really young. I thought, well, we're all breathing, so we're all doing the breath, so I don't see how the breath, what you're telling me to do with my breathing, is going to be any different. It is. Finding the breath, even if it's just slow full inhale and a slow full exhale, taking that pause is going to calm the nervous system. And the more you can find that throughout your day, especially when you're getting riled up, going into that softness, that more restorative, healing place through the breathing, it sends a message. Even when you're in that breath, you reduce that fight or flight, You reduce adrenaline and cortisol and all those hormones that are like, I gotta get out of here, or I've gotta yell, or I've gotta scream. You calm that down. And by the way, yelling or screaming, like if you need to do that sometimes, yell or scream. That will really help you release some of your tension. Just try not to yell or scream at someone else. Yeah, I've never done that. Again, we're all human, but we can learn from our humanness. So the breath is critical. I could go on, but I won't. The friends that you keep, the people, the acquaintances, this is in person and also digitally, make a difference. If you have someone in your life that you feel is negative, bringing you down, you might have a really sweet, loving talk with them and tell them, listen, I'm bogged down with this stuff, so I just can't really handle any more negativity right now, and I think you're the best, and maybe let's just change the subject or something like that. And if they don't handle it well, they don't handle it well, and that's okay. It's probably not about you at all. It's not about you at all. You might have to burn that bridge, and burn bridges lovingly. So light their way and say, I have to let this go. I wish you the best, but it's not really working for me, especially if you don't feel it's reciprocal and you're really supportive for someone and they're not re-supporting or supportive of you. And people are gonna have different reads on those things. So you're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, and there will be misperceptions of you, people will read you wrong, and sometimes you just gotta move on and let it go. I have a very kind of small, close-knit group of friends rather than having tons and tons of friends who I'm maybe not as close with, and I know that I can call them at 2 a.m. and they would be there for me as I would be for them. So have as many friends as feels right for you to know that you are supported by them and that they are equally supported by you. Say no. Say no to things. So no and negativity, or sometimes people think that's the same thing. Saying no is really powerful. So there's a quote, and this is another one, I have to look this up, but things I should have done before this video. It says, I say yes when I mean no, and the wrinkle grows, right? The wrinkle, the aging, mad, disgruntled. So a lot of us, and I think women in particular, sometimes we feel obligated to do things, and we feel like if we didn't do them, we'd be so frowned upon, or people wouldn't like us, or things like that. And then we feel upset when then we have to do this thing, and it stresses us out and it makes us feel negative. So you can avoid feeling negative by just lovingly saying no in the first place and saying, that doesn't work for me. I'm so sorry. I'm not available, but good luck. And maybe you can help in another way, some other time or some other way. Say no. I used to say yes to everything, and I burnt out, and I was disgruntled. Like I said, I was upset. And having a child, he's 12 now, but having a child and some stuff with my health and feeling really fatigued and tired made me able to, for the first time, start saying no. And it was tremendously healing. And everyone's lives went on, and everyone was, for the most part, really understanding, and I felt like I had more energy because I wasn't saying yes to things that I couldn't do. And movement. I mean, this is what I do. If you don't move, if you're sedentary, you're likely going to feel more negative. And again, let me just say, this isn't people who are bedridden and they have health issues and they can't move. These are people who could move but aren't moving. So even if it's a walk, a bike ride, doing some yoga, doing a little bit of weights, whatever movement you like is the one that you're going to stick with more. So choose that. Do not choose weight training if you hate weight training. You might try it a little bit and see if it grows on you. If it doesn't, move to something where you're like, oh yeah, I'm excited to do that. That really builds me up. Instant positivity. I think when we get in our breath and our bodies and we open and we strengthen, it's hard not to feel better than not doing that. And then the other thing is a lot of times it's just, like I said before at the beginning, it's a choice. So I can be feeling like a negative Nancy, and then I have to just look in the mirror and go, just stop. Stop. I've actually had to put a fake smile on my face to almost fake myself out a little bit, and then take some breathing and take some time. I had to put myself in timeout or take a bath or something like that when I'm being a little grumpy poo-poo, and reset myself and say, you're not going to behave that way, because probably what you're reacting to here isn't really even what's going on. You're upset about something else and you're taking it out on someone else, or you're not hearing someone correctly because you're in a mood. So pause, breathe, decide to pull yourself up a level. It doesn't always work, but it works most of the time. And it's in a lot of my neurology books, and you might have heard this before, but synapses that fire together wire together. And so what that means in your brain is, if you're having thoughts and you're having that thought over and over and over again, you create a highway to that thinking. That's a highway. You zoom into that. So you might zoom right into negativity because you have had this thought like, I hate ice cream. I hate it so much. And it reminds me of that lady who ate ice cream, and I hate her, and that, and it's just this like highway. I don't know, if you hate ice cream, like, hats off. Like, if you can avoid ice cream, I can't avoid ice cream. But anyhow, so that's the same thing. Negative thoughts are going to create a negative highway, whereas positive thoughts are also going to create a positivity highway. So sometimes that decision that you make is, I'm having a negative thought, I'm kind of cycling it around, it's spinning around, I'm creating this highway, there are a lot of cars on that road, and then you have to go, but what is good? And what am I thankful for? And what am I grateful for? And what is working? If you can go towards the positive and think about the people who you love in your life, the support that you have, maybe the animals you love, or maybe it's the smell of, the mountain laurels, or whatever it is. If you can put yourself into remembering those positives and cycling those, that pathway will get stronger, and it will be easier for you to stay in that positive place. And I mentioned just a second ago, gratitude. It's almost cheesy at this point, like it's cliche at this point, but it's so true. Everyone, like, gratitude is the way to positivity. Gratitude is the way towards more happiness, more thoughtfulness, more kindness, because you are pausing and seeing that the world is bigger than your bubble, and you're grateful for things. And they could be as small as, the sun is shining today, and I'm grateful for that. It could be as big as, I'm grateful for my husband and my son. So little, medium, big, doesn't matter, grateful. And write it down. Write a list of what you're grateful for, because sometimes it's, again, easy to forget. You can open your page and go, voila, look at all the good. So thank you so much for being here. There's so many more things that I could say about this, but that's about 15 minutes of kind of my thoughts on how to stay a little more positive when things seem or feel or are more negative. Thank you so much for showing up. Namaste.